Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and what's your favorite status symbol? We've all got them, like my mattress made out of CVS receipts that Joe finally let me make over in the corner. Or if you're into the financial independence retire early community, it might be your vintage laundry washboard or reusable toilet paper. If you're Joe's mom, it's probably photos of Joe back when he still had hair and peaked at his Cub Scout wolf badge ceremony. Couldn't even make bear. What status symbols make you feel all fancy? To dive into the ever-changing world of status symbols, we welcome, from the Crazy Money Podcast, Paul Ollinger. And from Afford Anything, it's Paula Pant. And from lenpenzo.com, it's Matt Damon. Oh my God, he's so dreamy. Oh man, we'd really have some status if we actually knew him, wouldn't we? It's just the sexiest man alive, Len Penzo. And now, a guy whose status symbol will always either be a $sign or an In-N-Out wrapper, it's Joe Saul-Sehy.
Of course, all that, our trivia segment, man, as we near the end of the year, we got that. But here's the question, Doug, about the In-N-Out wrapper. Do I really need the wrapper? Or do you just look at me and you've got all the evidence to know that I probably like In-N-Out more than I should?
You're just as fresh as all of their condiments, Joe.
Just please. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Animal Style for the Win. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy, Average Joe Money on Twitter. And today we are diving into the wild world of status symbols. We have this piece that we found that it talks about how status symbols have changed over the years. And are we really buying things that are important to us, or are we just diving into status? And here's the man deep under Los Angeles whose status symbol is a bunker. It's Mr. Len Penzo.
You know what? A miracle just happened.
Yes?
A miracle. Yes. Did you catch it?
You got compared to Matt Damon?
No, the three words you never hear in the same sentence, Len Penzo and sexy. I mean, that it just happened.
The honeybee never says that?
Thank you, Doug.
All of those latent desires I've had, Len, finally just bubbled at the surface.
Boy, the bromance continues here on a Friday episode.
I've been drinking.
Yeah. Do you guys, Len, so do you in your bunker, in your bunker Facebook groups, bunker building Facebook, do you guys compare like the size of the radiation walls or what do you...
Well, the gold actually acts as a really nice barrier for radiation, plus the earth. So we don't have to worry about stuff like that, Joe.
You know what's the good news that we got here, Len?
No, tell me.
We got the woman who's pure gold on this podcast every Friday. Bam. Oh. It's Paula Pant.
Oh, why? Thank you.
She's like, stop, keep going.
Gold is it's an excellent element. It's a great, historic store of value. But I will say I look better in like silvers or platinums.
Is that a status symbol for you, or do you just really like it?
No, I just really like it. Like I like the look of it.
Yeah.
Because you can get the cheap, like the $5 stuff at a thrift store or at Target or something, and that looks awesome also.
Paula, there's a special guest here today who I like the look of because he looks a lot like me with his shiny bald head. It's Mr. Paul Ollinger from Crazy Money. How are you, dude?
Wear it proud, Joe. Wear it proud. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I totally do. I finally had to just give it up, cut the hair really short. Not as short as yours is, but I'm getting there, man. It's only a matter of time.
I got my second haircut in 10 days at Great Clips yesterday. I've got to find a way to lower that expense on my ledger.
I can't figure out why you would spend money. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Wait a minute. What are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that my hair isn't worth investing in?
Or you have a crush on your stylist?
I get right.
I'm not going to disparage my stylist. She was a lovely person. But I do not have a crush on her. I will assure you of that.
So two things that people will find very fascinating about Mr. Ollinger. Number one is you have this incredible Crazy Money podcast. Tell people that haven't heard you here or haven't heard your show what Crazy Money's all about.
We look at the connection between money, happiness, work, and meaning through the lens of a wide variety of people, including leading academics, authors, winners of the Nobel Prize, Heisman Trophy, Olympic gold medals. 2 weeks ago, I had Stevie Van Zandt from Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band.
Yeah.
And this week I have Dr. Daniel Crosby, a wonderful financial psychologist and author.
He is so amazing.
He's great. He's a really fun conversation.
One of my favorite people. And also, you are a brilliant comedian. And I say that not at all euphemistically. I share your comedy all the time. If people don't follow you on Instagram, they have no idea what they're missing because you'll show little snippets. If Paul's coming live to your city, go see Paul because his fusion of finance and humor is amazing. But you have been on tour with rock groups, and Westboro Baptist actually has protested you.
They protested digitally. It was raining that night. I was really disappointed. It was raining that night. They were supposed to come out and protest us in, I believe it was Ozark, Missouri. And the police officers told me they don't come out when it's raining. They're fair weather protesters.
You just weren't worth it. Do you feel a little disappointed?
I was totally disappointed. I wanted to get out there and get my picture made with those lunatics from Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You're mixing up with these lunatics right here, Paul. We've got you, we've got Paula, we've got Len, we've got Doug. We've got a great piece talking about status symbols. So why don't we get this party started? But first,
this episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys Breakfast Meal and Huntrix Meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is a larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
Now we can get the party started. If you think, can we do it, Doug?
We've my party already started.
All right, here we go. This piece that we're going to talk about today, the inspiration for this came from savingadvice.com, and not just inspiration. We're going to talk specifically about this one. This was written by writer Tamila McDonald, and it's 10 odd status symbols throughout time. And as I read this, I didn't want to just talk about odd status symbols. I want this to be a lead into how much should we spend money based on our values, and how much should we spend money based on just status? And is there really that much of a line between the two of them? But let's start at the top with this thing, which is mummies was one of the weird status symbols on here. During the Victorian era, Egyptomania gripped many richer households, she writes. One way that they expressed their appreciation for Egypt was to buy a mummy, which they would then display in their houses. I know, Paul, a little bit about your background, but I'm sure you were a part of this too, right? You have friends over to, it says exceptionally wealthy people like Paul Ollinger went further, hosting unwrapping parties where you could watch the corpse get unveiled.
It's no worse than a gender reveal party if you think about it.
Oh, God.
You open the mummy in either pink or blue powder ignites your neighbor's automobile.
No. If it's a gender reveal party, doesn't it take like all weekend and you got to go to some island?
Right. And you drink lots of cheap champagne and make all kinds of terrible decisions.
Number 2 on this list, Paula Pant, is pineapples. While pineapples were widely available across most of the globe today, thanks to advances in transportation logistics, that wasn't the case a few hundred years ago. As a result, Europeans and Paula Pant considered pineapples to be an incredible luxury. Do you consider pineapples like, do you bring people over to the Afford Anything headquarters and show off your pineapples?
100%. First of all, you can buy plants that grow like little tiny pineapples. So it's a planter. It sits on your desk and there's a pineapple growing out of it. No one expects that. And I think that's freaking cool. And I used to have one in my room and people would comment on it.
You seriously did?
Yeah, I had a pineapple plant in my room.
Yes. Did you have a pineapple reveal party like Paul was talking about?
It's a pineapple. It's a fruit. No, I did not have that, but I did have a romper, like a jumpsuit that I used to wear all the time that had tiny little pineapples all over it. I think I've got a pair of sunglasses with pineapples on it. Well, with a image of pineapples. And there was one time, I remember this so clearly, it was Christmas. And I was in Colorado and it was snowing and there were a bunch of us sitting around a table and we were all eating pineapple. And I do remember having the thought like, wow, how luxurious that we're in Colorado, it's snowing, it's Christmas, and we're eating this tropical fruit. Like I did actually have that thought.
That's like a warm fuzzy. Did you get like goosebumps?
Yeah, well, it was more of a like awe, like a sense of awe at just how far human civilization has come.
You just stop and realize how blessed you are to live today.
Yeah.
Think of the environmental impact that pineapple had. I mean, not to bring you down or anything, but you're really destroying the planet with your fascination here.
I know, seriously. Seriously.
Paula doing her part to destroy the planet.
Thanks, Paul.
No. By the way, Doug has, most people call them pajamas, Paula, that have pineapples on them. Doug calls them his jammies.
Jammies.
Yes.
Jammies, they got feet on
Not to be confused with pineapple jam.
No, not at all. Number 3, Mr. Penzo, to bring you into this, Krakows. I didn't know what this was. Krakows were a type of shoe that became popular in the 15th century in Europe. So what was it like wearing those? I can't stop the old guy jokes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? You know, back in the late 70s, early 80s, I mean, there was something kind of similar. I don't know if you call it a status symbol, but well, maybe it was. You know, people used to buy Vans and they'd get the custom made Vans, and they were really, I mean, it was pretty cool that you could do that back. I don't think you can do that nowadays. You just buy them off the whatever they make off the shelf.
You can.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah,
well, because I remember as a kid, boy, that we'd have come up with all kinds of weird designs and have them make them for us. So
people were fascinated by these, apparently. Incredibly impractical, featuring long, extended toes that went anywhere from a couple inches to 20 inches. Is this one of those deals, Mr. Ollinger, where, you know, size mattered and the longer your Krakows were, the more people liked you?
Well, apparently it got to be such a crazy obsession that the government intervened. And they had to limit the length of the toe. You know, it's a real issue.
Is this true?
It's what it says in the article you sent around.
Right there.
Oh, I do see that now.
For centuries.
Apparently, I should read my own stuff.
Big government, man. What's up with that?
I know. People get mad about different things. This is
the Congress is going to start talking to you about how tight your shorts are. That's
God, they should.
Yeah, I don't know. I look hot in the hot shorts. Boy, this is getting weird in a hurry. Len, outside your bunker where your house used to be, do you have number 4 here? They call these follies. A folly is essentially a fake castle ruin. The large structures were popular in the UK from the 18th through 19th century, serving no other purpose than to display a person's wealth or be a site for party games or similar types of entertainment. Do you, like where your house used to be over the bunker, do you leave that as a folly and invite people over for croquet?
No, I try to hide that as much. But, you know, some of my neighbors' homes, I would call them follies all by themselves. I really need to get the homeowners association on them. Their homes are looking like follies right now.
Number 5 and 6 on this list, Paula, I just find kind of disturbing. Number 5 is gout. And even though Doug was joking about gout at the beginning and my miniskirt showing off my gout, and then bound feet. And you look at some of the piercings that people have. I mean, some of these, quote, status symbols over time are just horrifying.
Right. Well, with gout, the explanation was that it's the access to resources that a person was understood to have needed to have in order to develop gout made it sort of a rich person's disease. I think both of them, or at least it made it perceived at the time to be a rich person's disease.
Yeah.
But I think that both examples, gout and bound feet, I mean, there are many examples, not just throughout history, but even today, of like altering part of your body for the sake of either status or expression, you know? And so I wonder 400 years in the future, how people will look back on some of the fact that we pierce our ears today.
Right.
Are people going to be horrified by that 500 years from now? The fact that tattoos, like what will people in 500 years think of that?
Yes. No, let's, I was going to go there in a little bit, but there's some things that are horrifying now, Paula, as an example. Humans, right? I mean, you look at slavery and households, the number of slaves that they had was a status symbol.
Right.
And I also look at the idea from like the 50s and 60s. And if you watch episodes of Mad Men, the idea of, quote, a trophy wife, or, a woman who was a, quote, hood ornament for a man, right? You have this status because of the fact that you're with this person. In fact, we talked about that. A gentleman named Paul Kaufman came on and was talking about it in a book that he had recently, which it was The Money Plot, talking about how over time, how these things, how money's changed. But women, and I can't help when you talk about piercing your ears, do you still think like it takes women, by the way, 3 men and a woman, and a woman on the show, I don't want you to have to speak on behalf of all women, Paula, but do you think the idea that one of us on this show may feel compelled to be made up and look a certain way much more than the rest of us, is there still a bit of that going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that in society, people are judged, all people, but women in particular, are judged based on how they look. And there's a cognitive bias known as the halo effect, in which if a person is socially considered to be attractive, then they are more liked. And as a result, people trust them more. They get more job offers. They get higher incomes. Being attractive is advantageous in all areas of life, not just in dating and relationships, but in job interviews, in the way the grocery store clerk treats you, in quite literally every social interaction. Being attractive is more advantageous than not being attractive. And there are many ways that that's expressed. I mean, some people focus on hair, some on makeup, some on clothing, some on muscle building or fat loss, some combination of all of the above. But we haven't even talked about fillers, Botox, plastic surgery, right? But all of it points towards the fact that even though we don't like to admit it, it is indisputably relevant to your life how attractive general society sees you, and it will impact the life that you have.
Is that ever going to go away, do you think, though, or is it just going to keep evolving?
I don't think it will ever go away. I think it is ingrained in who we are. We are wired to be drawn to people who are healthy and fertile and confident, right? Like that's just innate human nature. Like I mentioned that cognitive bias, the halo effect, cognitive biases are not something that we choose. That's, they're a reflection of the way our brains are wired.
And as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about Arthur Schopenhauer philosophy and the fact that he says that people exist for two reasons. One is to continue to live. And then number two is to propagate the species, right? Like those are the internal innate things that we want to do. And if that's the case, then we are going to show off the fact that we have more food available, we have more resources available to us, and that will be a show-off thing. But it also, helps make us attractive, which we innately want to do so that we can continue to keep the species alive. How about taking this show, making it deep?
Exactly. Exactly. And the same holds true for markers of attraction. I mean, many socially accepted markers of attraction are really markers of fertility. And that is innately something that we're, as an aggregate, drawn to in order to keep the species alive.
You know what's strange is that, getting back to these strange ones for a few minutes, board games are number 7. That, Mr. Penzo, is one that would mean I would have huge status if that were today.
You would be the Elon Musk or the Bill Gates of the board game world.
Sadly, I'm not even close. I see these people with like 2,000 board games and maybe holy cow.
That's crazy.
Couldn't do that in a million years. Do you agree with Paula that these attractiveness standards are just going to continue to evolve, or that will refine, or are we going to see some of this start to go away?
No, I think it's human nature. Like Paul said, I don't know how you re-engineer human nature. It is what it is. And that's just, work on an individual basis. You can try to adjust your biases or your innate drives inside you. But I don't, that's kind of like stop trying to stop the tides,
Last on this list, by the way, are sugar, hermits. Having hermits live on your property, if you were very wealthy, was considered a status symbol, and x-rays, having those. I don't want to talk most about those, but I brought up board games because I was actually very proud at my old house to have this shelf where instead of books, I had board games sitting out. And I don't know if it was status symbol, but why the hell else was I happy to have those out? I mean, I knew what games I owned, other than when people came over, they saw that I had these games and knew what a nerd I was. In some weird way, it's a status symbol. Paul,
they didn't need to see the games.
They had, they had it ahead of time. But Paul, is there any kind of weird status symbol thing that you can think of in your life that you kind of have and wonder why you're seeking that status?
I think the modern status is now about attention, and it's all about followers. I think this is a uniquely bizarre attribute of our time that maybe 50 years from now, people will look back and go, they really valued how many people followed them on these ridiculous social networks. And they'll talk about Instagram and Facebook the same way we chuckle about MySpace and Friendster.
Yeah. But do you fall into that? I mean, is part of the reason that you do comedy the need to have an audience of people that are adoring what you do?
Yeah. Well, is that status, or is that just some deep psychological hole in my life? I don't know. I think it's an expression of my values. You know, it's interesting, the comedy world, people boast about their accomplishments, try to get attention because, you know, when other people are recognizing the quality of your work, it's sort of this, coming back to Paul's halo effect. It's like, you must be worthy of attention because somebody else is paying attention. That's kind of how it works in the entertainment industry. It's like nobody wants you until they can't have you and other people want you, which comes back to men and women. Frankly, I think, yes, we all look to propagate our genes, and no matter how woke we all become, we will not get away from the biological facts that women seek shelter and safety, and men seek men are pigs. That's it. That's what we're dealing with.
That's the baseline right there.
Yes.
Send your hate mail to Paul at crazymoney.com.
And while you're doing it, tell me exactly how I'm wrong.
Right. Len, do you think he's wrong?
I don't think, I don't know if Paul was kidding or not. I don't think men are pigs. I really don't. I mean, there's women who are pigs too. If we're going to go, you know, it's just humans. Humans are humans. There's good humans. There's bad humans.
Do you have a weird
I don't stereotype.
No, let's give you the same question that I gave Paul and Paula. Any weird thing that you have is kind of a weird status symbol?
I am not a statusy person, if anybody who knows me, but I will say this. When I was younger, I proudly displayed my cassette tapes and my CDs on my wall. I had stands, and just to show all the hundreds of CDs and cassette tapes I had for my music collection, I proudly displayed that.
And that was something that a lot of people thought, I bet, was cool and made you, it was status.
That one was. I have to admit, I wanted to show that off.
Imagine if Spotify could do that, where you could show off your streaming collection. Like, I've got 2,000 songs on this playlist. Paula, I said that I asked you this. You got any weird status things that you kind of wonder why you're chasing that?
I do sort of the opposite of you in terms of what's on my bookshelves. I really enjoy having a good selection of books on my bookshelves, and I enjoy when friends come over and they look at all of the books that I've got. So there is certainly a part of me that appreciates when my friends see how awesome my books are. And actually, I was telling you, Joe, actually, the other day, one of my dreams is to one day own a home where I've got like a big library, like a full room that is just a library, which I understand now that, we live in the era of the Kindle. That's completely unnecessary, but old school library with a big ladder that runs all the way up to the ceiling, like Beauty and the Beast style. There's probably a bit of status symbol in the fact that I want that.
But there's two.
Just made a pop culture reference.
What is?
I know, right?
What? But isn't that initially a pop culture reference from a 15th century fable too? I mean, you thought Jack Benny was old. That's back
Paul's
there.
An ocean.
Yes. But it is interesting. So not only do you enjoy reading and being smart, it feels to me like it's a sign of intelligence, right? Like,
yeah. There's certainly some ego gratification when friends come over and they look at all of the books that I've got. And frankly, how good those books are. I've got great taste in books.
Paul, if you really want to be impress your friends, you've got to put together get one of those library card racks with the Dewey Decimal System. So when your friends come over, they can check out your books that way.
I'll have my own card catalog.
Yeah, that's it. That was what I was looking for, the card catalog. Thank you.
Don't you guys miss being on a plane and seeing what somebody else is reading and thinking to yourself, oh, what a moron? You know?
Yeah. But that's interesting you say that, Paul, that there is some judginess that comes along with this status thing, right?
100%. Well, I mean, what people put forward to represent who they are and their values is a pretty good indication of what they value, right? If you're leading with your Lamborghini and your HGH spray tanned body, that says something about who you are and what you value, and appearances are perhaps worth more than substance in your life.
Stop talking about Len.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think Paul's judging me right now.
I don't know. Do you? Look, if you have a Lamborghini, that's fine. I'm just saying,
You have an HGH spray tan body?
Yes. Oh my God.
Absolutely not.
I'm not. I mean, it's fine, Len. It's fine.
Okay. Oh, I know you like it, Doug.
Well, in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about the financial implications and cost of this, but we've got first some trivia coming. All right, it's time for our contestant trivia challenge. Let me pull this up at the midway point of every show. Our regular contributors, Paula, Len, and OG, have a competition, and it's a year-long competition with the big trophy at the end that we can't tell you what that is.
A date with Doug.
Is that exactly what it is? Paul, you want the good news or the bad news?
Good news, please.
The good news is you're tied for first because you are going to be playing on behalf of my co-host OG today.
Oh,
yes, you are tied for first.
Shoes.
And how many wins does OG have?
OG has 14. And Mr. Penzo has pulled into a tie with OG. And because Len won last year, more good news for you, Paul. It's actually good news. Len is going to be going first because he's the returning champion. And the bad news for both of you, maybe, I don't know, because she hasn't used it all year. Paula has only 11. Paula, it's time for the big comeback.
I hope there's adequate time. Pressure's on.
You got plenty of time. You only need 3, and you probably have 12 weeks left in the year. So, yeah.
So it's not looking good.
It looks great. You're good. All right, Doug, you ready to give us some trivia?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Doug, I'm sure, as usual, has a little rant for us and some trivia. So let's do this.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, the official status symbol of this here show. Today, we're celebrating a big first. But even as I say that, I'm realizing no one celebrates my firsts. First person to fit 217 Cheetos in their mouth without it's a big word, asphyxiating. First person to smell smoke and get everyone out of the basement during that fire. Well, yeah, sure, maybe it was my blueberry Pop-Tart on the boiler that was burning. But anyways, I was absolutely not the first person, which everyone thinks I was, to hit that mail lady with a snowball in the face back in 1982. That was not my fault. As my therapist keeps telling me, I was a kid. I was just a kid. We didn't know that window was down. How was I supposed to see the window was down when we were throwing snowballs at the mail truck?
Doug, dude, get off the ground. Get off the ground, man.
Go.
Get off. Get back up.
Oh.
Stand up at your microphone. You'll be okay. And by the way, I hope that's just coffee you spilled on your pants.
Where am I? Where?
Yeah. Hey.
Whoa.
Easy.
Is it dinner time? Okay. All right. As I was saying, today is the anniversary of the first day someone jumped from a high place with a parachute. That's what I was just talking about. What a life insurance policy that little piece of fabric was. Am I right? I'm right. But here's today's question.
Already? Wait a minute. You're going to give us the question already?
It's in there. It's just read between the lines, folks. Critical thinking skills. It's like an SAT. But here's today's question. What year was it? What are you talking about, Doug? What year was what? What year did the first person jump with a parachute? That's what I'm trying to say here. I'll be back with the answer once I go upstairs to Joe's mom's powder room to punch through a wall, grab my go bag, and use the pants I was supposed to be wearing to reclaim my offshore accounts should I ever need to fake my own death. I'm out of here.
Oh my God.
A lot to unpack there.
Wow. Wish that was over the top. All right. Well, Mr. Penzo, first, the year in which somebody first jumped with a parachute.
Who knows? I have no clue. Gosh, when would somebody have jumped out of a parachute?
And that was an insurance policy, wasn't it?
Yeah. My goodness. Who would even be stupid enough to try that? The first person that ever, I have no clue whatsoever. Let's see. Well, let's see. What could you jump off of with a parachute? Let's put it that way. Let's think about that. So would it be from an aircraft? Would somebody have a reason to jump? What other reason would you use a parachute for? Jumping off a tall building? I'll bet you it's relatively recently. Okay, so let's see. I think when was the hot air balloon invented? That was like in the 1700s, I think. Probably sometime. Let's try that. So I don't know, 1792.
1790. You say it's sometime recent, and then you go with 1792.
I just keep waiting as we listen to
Can I change
Len's.
it? Can I change it?
It's okay.
Let me do 1812. 1812.
Somebody jumping off something during the war?
Well, I'm trying to think. I know there were hot air balloons in the Civil War. I'm trying to think if they were before that. Let me say 1812.
Mr. Ollinger?
A little clarification on the rules. Do we play like closest to, like The Price is Right?
We play closest to, but we had to get rid of the without going over rule because there was a lot of, I got a bunch of mail. And when people are getting upset about something as crucial as the trivia in the middle of the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, of all the things going on in the world right now, that's probably the most important.
I think so. I think it's an important cultural milestone, Paul.
I'm gonna pull the old prices, and I wish I was going last because I'm about to get whacked on this, but I'll go with 1813.
1813.
Paul.
Hey, my parents left us at home a lot during the day when we were kids. There was my babysitter. I had when I learned strategy from Bob and the models.
If you learn strategy, I'm kind of seeing what might be coming next to one of you.
One of the two of you is getting
one of us is going to be sandwiched.
I think it was more recently than that, so I'm going to go with 1814.
1814.
Oh my God, that's so mean, Paul. You do that. What kind of a person does that?
I think you did it to yourself.
Nonsense.
Yes.
Nonsense.
Is it 1812, 13, or 14? We don't play that way.
Oh my God.
Well, if it were 18, if it was 1813, I would just be ecstatic. And as OG would have to buy me a new car. I mean,
people that listen to this episode are going to hear Paul's head explode.
This has never happened before.
It'll be fantastic. We'll be right back with the answer. We can't tell you now. We got to do this first. Well, running a small business, as you may know, like I do, it is super fun, but it can also be very tough. And when it's time to get a loan, it can feel impossible to find the lender that you actually trust. Big banks say no. The internet, well, that's full of sketchy offers with sky-high rates and fine print you can barely read. Whether you need help covering payroll, managing cash flow, or investing in growth, you deserve better. And that's why I recommend the small business marketplace Fundera, which is powered by NerdWallet. It's a free, easy-to-use platform. It lets you compare real financing offers from trusted lenders, and it's all in one place. And what I like is that you don't need perfect credit to get started. There's no spam. There's no bait and switch. Just personalized options that fit your business needs. Nothing I like better than a place that treats me the way that they would want to be treated. Using Fundera is a super way to quickly compare options and make your best funding move the way any great business owner would. Here's the best part, though. For a limited time, when you visit nerdwallet.com/SB and fill out the no obligation form, you're going to get VIP treatment and talk with a real person who knows all the ins and outs of small business lending. And you can tell them specifically what you're looking for. They can tell you specifically which options you should probably consider most. Don't risk your business on unreliable lenders. Go to nerdwallet.com/SB to learn more and find the funding you deserve. Fundera Inc., NMLS ID number 1240038. Len, you kicked off what I thought was going to be a wide-ranging bunch of answers with 1812. Well, you started the 1790s, but changed it out for 1812.
I think Paula's got this in the bag. I probably should have did something closer to the Civil War. It had to. I think it's related to hot air balloons, to be honest with you.
I don't know, Paul. All that studying The Price is Right. Maybe you heard this question before. 1813?
I don't think if I knew the answer, I wouldn't have used that strategy. I just did some Googling, and I'm not going to tell you what I learned, but it's going to be interesting, these results.
Yes, and Paula has the rest of it. Paula, you feeling good?
I'm feeling great. When I first heard the question, my first thought was that this would have happened after the invention of the airplane, and obviously that was in the 1900s, so I'm good.
So there you go. You're looking at the Wright brothers and... yeah, going, you're all set. Well, we're about
Ohio, birthplace of aviation.
Woohoo! We're about to find out. Well, the birthplace of the people that did the
North
aviation.
North Carolina's going to argue with you.
I know.
Their damn first in-flight license plates. I take umbrage to that every time I see one as an Ohioan.
Yeah, if you're sending hate mail now, send your hate mail, North Carolina, to Paula. Yes. All right, here we go. Doug, I'm sure, might have a little more and an answer for us.
Hey, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. We're talking very calmly about firsts without involving traumatic flashbacks to our childhood. Just like Joe is the first one to rock a miniskirt just so he can show off his gout. And just like Joe's mom is going to be the first person to review the book Stacked, your super serious guide to modern money management when it comes out. Yes, you can pre-order it now for some extra gifts. So it turns out today is the anniversary of the first person who jumped from a high place with a parachute. What was that year? The event, which I'm sure was approached with a fair amount of consternation, reverence, and goodbye wishes from all, happened in 1779, which means Len is our winner!
Oh.
Eat it, Paula.
I was even closer with my first guess, and I backed away from it.
I was scared for you, Len. I was listening to your reasoning, thinking, just hold, like a Braveheart moment right there, hold. But he didn't. But you still came out the winner. In other news, I'm kind of wondering, what was the first year that someone jumped with a parachute and actually lived?
Wouldn't that be bad if those were two different years? Oh, Mr. Ollinger, I was just waiting for 1813.
It wasn't that far off. I should have just taken the under. That was my big mistake because I think Paula would have gone with the over.
Yeah, and Paula, all that logic served you well.
I know, right? Seriously. It must have happened after the invention of the airplane. Clearly did not pan out.
Her great familiarity with the aeronautical achievements of Dayton, Ohio were well rewarded.
That's right. Yeah. And all the North Carolina people, Paula, just rejoiced.
But let that be a lesson to whoever picks second. Don't ever try to Chelsea Brennan prematurely. You do not do the premature Chelsea Brennan.
Oh, you got to relax when you Chelsea Brennan somebody.
Yeah, that's right. Breathe deep and think about baseball or something.
Think about puppies and baseball, right?
Exactly.
Welcome to the second half of our conversation about status symbols. We're going to talk about when status symbols may be unhealthy. I think we got in a little bit on how they're unhealthy and how they're changing in the first half, but really we're going to get a little practical and talk about you and status symbols and your money. But first, today's discussion, the tactical discussion of what to do, is brought to you by Magnify Money. Mr. Ollinger, you know what happens when you go to stackingbenjamins.com/Magnify Money?
You get smarter about money.
It's amazing. Tactically, you are able to see that brick and mortar bank you use, probably not best in class, because Magnify Money looks at 92% of all of the banks that are available online, checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs, and more. You can compare them all whichever way you want at stackingbenjamins.com/Magnify Money. So let's dive into this. How do you start to know, and Paula, we'll start with you, some warning signs that status is getting in the way? And I'm going to give you a personal example. I know some people that are close to me. I know that they struggle with money, and I know that they lease 2 cars, and these 2 cars together, $900 a month they make in lease payments every month. And I know that that's dragging them down. And this idea for status, one is a Land Rover and the other one is a nice Mercedes. And I know that they love those brands, right? And it's costing them maybe their kids' college education. What are the warning signs that maybe you've gone too far?
I would say the warning signs would be if you are going into debt, consumer debt, in order to acquire the status symbols, and if you are insufficiently funding your long-term goals, such as retirement, kids' college funds, and any long-term financial goal that you have, if that isn't prioritized first and foremost, then that's a warning sign, because it means in terms of priority, it means one of the two has got to give, and you're taking money out of what matters most for these status symbols.
Is there something, Len, at the point of purchase that we should be asking ourselves? Like, you know, that old phrase, I'm trying to impress people I don't know with money I don't have to buy things I don't need?
Well, at point of purchase, you know, I guess at the point of purchase, the more these things cost, the longer you should wait to purchase. And maybe you shouldn't be buying them right away. So that I've always gone on the sleep on it rule for the big purchases or things that you're buying for status. So, for example, a car, especially if you're buying it on a whim, you know, you got to make sure, or anything, even, you know, designer jeans, whatever. If it's really pushing up against your discretionary budget and you're getting to your limit there and you're doing it month after month after month, maybe you should, you know, if you see something, think about it and then come back the next day if you still want it.
Paul, well, I think you touched on something pretty important there. I mean, can we do both? Can you talked about discretionary budget. Can we satisfy those base human needs to somehow display the values we have, but also continue to be pragmatic and save for the important things that are also a different portion of our value set?
I think so. Yeah, you just have to think about it. I mean, if you're, like I said, if you're setting aside a portion of your discretionary funding, sure, why not? But I think it might be a problem if you're using all of your discretionary funds, and then which might bleed over beyond your discretionary fund spending. Then you've got a problem. So
the issue here is, have you struck a balance?
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it.
But it depends. You know, I'm thinking about what you're saying, Doug, and I'm also wondering if I'm buying stuff to impress other people, I think I kind of start to wonder about my true value in life. You know, like is my true meaning in life to impress somebody else? Because I feel like sometimes we're buying stuff just so that we don't have to think through who we are.
But who cares? I mean, if you're able to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish, I'll say more pragmatically, long-term goals, whether it's inheritance or it's college for your kids or your own retirement, and also, you know, have the HGH spray tan body, #winning, then, I mean, who cares? If you can do all of that, you know, to whatever level or degree that to you represents success, then, I mean, who are we to judge?
Paul?
I'll tell you who we are to judge. We're the people that have to bail these sad sacks out when they overspend and find themselves over a barrel, whether that's your brother, not any of my brothers-in-law, but, you know, your brother-in-law or the person who can't pay his bill at the emergency room. That's who we are. You know, Joe, you asked warning signs. Here's a warning sign you're putting too much emphasis and trying to impress your neighbors with your gout. If your weight exceeds your credit score, pull back.
And if your credit score is 800?
So, like, I was going to say.
Luckily, I got some room.
You can get a reality show that'll help you.
Next time we're pulling through In-N-Out, I'm going to say, well, Paul said I'm good. Tell my weight coach. My credit score is 815, so I think I can go for the double.
I got room.
Yes. I'm good. I'm thinking about this. I have a friend who knows himself really well. And actually, Paul, I want to ask you about this guy because he is very blunt at the fact that for him, what gives him joy and he really values isn't being wealthy. He values you thinking he's wealthy. And he will tell you, and it's a really interesting conversation. He goes, I know that makes me sound shallow, but I realized, right, I know, right? He owns a huge mansion that he scoured and worked hard and made sure that he found this distressed property owner before anybody else did so he could get it for a lot less money than what it would list for today. Like he scoured for the deal because he knew he wanted the biggest mansion he could get. It has 2 garages. He also used that to purchase 2 Ferraris that he can drive around because he likes people looking at him. Is that wrong if he can afford it? Kind of to Doug's point.
I respect that level of self-awareness, the complete self-awareness, the complete ownership of his motivations, the thought, the conscious thought that went behind the idea of I am willing to sacrifice my actual net worth and my actual wealth in order to project this image. And I've sat down, I've really thought about it, and I've made that conscious choice. I respect that. That's deliberate.
Does that mean, looking at that and with your answer, it sounds like you're saying we should maybe be a little less judgy.
Right. Unconscious status symbol chasing, where you're keeping up with the Joneses or you're caving to social pressure or you think you want something, even though you don't actually want it. Those iterations of indeliberate spending or unconscious spending, I think that's where a lot of the problems come from. But if a person sits down and says, you know what, I'm going to make a very conscious choice to spend in this way for this purpose, assuming that they have the money to do that, assuming they're not going into debt, that they're paying all of their bills, that they're adequately saving for retirement, for their children's college, for their long-term needs, then what's the problem?
Len, I think Paula seems to be pointing in my head to an equation and I'm missing it, but you're the engineer in the group. Is there some equation where we know we're balancing and not tipping too far on one side?
Well, obviously, the most basic equation is, are you spending less than you're earning, right? So, I mean, it always comes down to that. If you're spending more than you're earning to try and pull the wool over some people's eyes, you're only harming yourself. And I'll say this one more thing about the status symbol thing. Here's another part of the equation that maybe the people seeking the status attention aren't thinking about. I would say there's half of us out there, and I count myself as one of them, we're not impressed. I'm not impressed. I don't look at somebody's house and then suddenly put a godlike status over them just because they live in a big house or because they drive a nice car or because they show their shoes with the red bottoms. What are those? Louis Vuittons or whatever those are. I'm not impressed. And I'd say there's half of
Louboutin.
Okay. So there's half of us out there that aren't impressed anyways. So the best you're going to do is you're going to impress half of the population. And the other half are just going to look at you and say, eh.
And is not a bad reaction, I think, as long as you're not judging them.
No, of course. No, I'm not saying in a judgmental. I'm just saying I'm not impressed. Yeah. Okay, good for you. You're driving a Ferrari. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Paul, you've got the last word on this. Wrap us up. What's the big takeaway here?
The people who will be impressed by your fancy car and oily, jacked up biceps are not the people you want to impress.
That was good. That was succinct. I was waiting for the rest of that. But Ollinger just dropped the mic and said, I'm out of here.
We put a button on it, Joe.
that was it. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. And you guys are all doing so much exciting stuff. We'll have our guest of honor go last. Mr. Penzo, what's going on at lenpenzo.com, my friend?
Well, you know what? Since just for the topic, it's one of my most popular articles there. I'll just highlight it. And it's regarding this topic today. It's titled, Why Your Expensive Luxury Car Does Not Impress Smart People or Yours Truly. So it's got like 600 comments over the years. So it's one of those things where the comments are actually more entertaining than the article.
I don't know. I've read your stuff, Len, and the article's very entertaining, which is why the comment section gets entertaining.
Yeah. What about? Well, anyway, so there you go.
Yeah. Paula, what's going on at Afford Anything, that brilliant podcast?
the brilliant podcast on the Afford Anything podcast. You join the show every other week where we answer questions from the community, and we have a great time doing it.
We do.
And we answer some fantastic questions too. And we give them good answers for, shockingly, even though it's us.
Yeah. The answers that are better than,
I did a solo episode that recently aired about the housing market in 2021.
Good, because I know you're getting that question all the time.
Yeah. From April 2020 through April 2021, housing nationwide went up 17.2%. And so everyone, whether you're an investor or a homeowner or a renter who's thinking about maybe one day becoming a homeowner, like basically everybody is like, what just happened? How do I wrap my brain around what just happened? And so we dive into that on a solo episode that I just did.
That's such a great topic. And you'll find it wherever finer podcasts are listened to. As you will, Paul's show, Crazy Money, with Paul Ollinger. Paul, if I had the ability to get the guest on the show that you have had Moby on the show. You have had, Paul, do you know who Moby is?
I know that Moby Dick is a whale.
Oh, God, just say yes.
Swing and a miss. Stevie
Moby
Van
Dick was a
Zandt.
whale.
LL Cool J? How about LL Cool J?
LL Cool J. He was from the 90s, and he had a CD, and he had some tattoos. He sang the song. No, that was Joey Lawrence. He sang.
Did you just mix up LL Cool J with Joey Lawrence?
No, they both were from the 90s. They both had CDs.
That means Kurt Cobain and LL Cool J have a lot in common.
Wait, I was about to name a song that I thought LL Cool J performed, but then I realized that the song I was about to name was actually a Joey Lawrence song. So
what is the opposite of the expression "Okay, Boomer"? What is it?
Yeah, right?
Is it "Give me a freaking break"? Gen Z? I don't know.
But
I'm a millennial.
I was going to say, Paul, that would infer that Paula knew something about pop culture today.
Did you have a Joey Lawrence poster on your wall, Paula?
No, I did not, but I did have his CD also.
Okay.
I had both of their CDs. I had the LL Cool J CD and the Joey Lawrence CD.
Wait a minute.
I can't name a single song that LL Cool J did, but I know that he had a CD.
And we thought Paul's head was going to explode when we said 1813. It's getting ready to go now. But with those guests and Stevie Van Zandt, Paul, so what's coming up next? How do you beat that?
You just keep sending out emails and booking great people. I've got lots of fun stuff coming up in the next few weeks. I've got some stuff about the secession of the wealthy neighborhood of Atlanta, Buckhead, trying to leave the rest of the city, and what are the ethical and moral implications, to say nothing of the practical implications of that trying to happen. And lots of other great authors. As importantly, in my comedy career, I'll be in the Boston Comedy Festival November 9th at the Rockwell in Somerville, Mass. So come on out and see that.
Oh, that's awesome. And we will link, by the way, to Crazy Money and Paul's website on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. You can also listen to Crazy Money wherever finer podcasts are sold or acquired as well.
It's a status symbol.
It is totally following Crazy Money or Afford Anything or Stacking Benjamins or readinglenpenso.com is the status symbol that you should embrace. Doug, you ready?
So ready.
What should we have learned today, my friend?
Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. There we go. First, humans have as many ways to show they're special as Joe's mom has leather chaps. From pineapples to disgusting diseases, tortured limbs to sweeteners, we all evolved to show off, and, it's just what we do. Since you can't see me, I'll just let you know. I'm carrying a Starbucks cup. And yeah, I don't want to brag, but it's a venti. Go big. Second, people have been jumping off high places since just after Len was born. Since then, all kinds of parachutes have been invented. You got your multicolored ones used in school gyms. Yeah, that's a memory. The rectangle ones for jumping out of planes. And of course, the lead parachute that Joe's mom promised me when I leave this show. Anyway, the big lesson? Never throw a snowball at a public servant who's simply doing her job. I mean, I said I was sorry. Also, that therapy is expensive and apparently it doesn't always take. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't get help. There's an answer out there, people. Seek help. Big thanks to Paul Ollinger for joining us. You'll find his podcast, Crazy Money, wherever you're listening to us today. Hey, Paul, if you steal any of my material, actually, I'm okay with that. Just give me royalties. Want to afford all the status symbols? You'll find Paula Pant's Afford Anything podcast, and that includes expensive cars and weird totems, I'm sure, wherever you're listening to us as well. Go follow both podcasts. And when you're ready for great money writing, you should head to lenpenzo.com, the offbeat site for people who want a little more common sense and well-oiled HGH-fueled bodies during their day. Also, today's show was written by the brilliant Paula Perhatch. Know how I know she's brilliant? She wrote the words I'm reading right now. While she's not putting awesome words in my mouth, she helps writers power their work and businesses power their words. See how she can help you at thatwriterpaulette.com. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, thanking you for hanging out with us today. I'm sure this is the status symbol you'll be bragging about to your friends all weekend long. See ya!
Welcome to the after show. This is the part of the show that doesn't exist. If you want to hear a little bit of Paul, you mind if we play a clip?
Not at all.
Yeah, let's play a clip of Len. Have you ever heard Paul's comedy?
You know, I don't know. Maybe I have.
Paula.
Paul's name sounds very familiar, so I bet you I have. So.
But shouldn't we wait till after the clip to decide if we've heard Paul's comedy?
Yeah, I don't even know who this guy is. How did you appear on this show? Paula, I think I played Paul for you before, haven't I?
I don't remember if you have.
You don't remember. Doug, was it you? Boy, I'm really good at spreading the word, Paul. I'm like a
you can be my new manager.
Great. I'm apparently
my publicist, more like it.
I got 3 of my best friends hanging out here. None of them know who the hell you are. But they should. Let's listen to this.
I would come home from the grocery store with the non-organic carrots, and she'd say, "Why'd you buy these? You know I like to eat organic." And I'd say, "Because the organic ones are $2 more, and it's not worth it." And I was right. But thus would begin a conversation, and an hour later, I would find myself thinking, would I pay $2 to get out of this argument right now? And the answer is like, I'd pay fucking anything to get out of this argument right now. You know, carrots are good for your eyes, but if you buy the wrong ones, they're bad for your ears. Buy the organic carrots. Early in our marriage.
So
I do remember that.
He's a comedian.
I do remember that.
Please laugh. Please laugh.
Damn, that's funny.
Thank you.
I did play that for you, Paula, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Oh my God, that's so funny, Paul. And we've all been in that argument. But back to today's topic, we've also bought something really dumb for status, and I'll kick it off. I've told this story publicly about when I first became bad with money. I was at the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. And of course, then you're a cadet and you can't have a job. Well, that didn't stop American Express from having a table in the student union to get credit cards. Huge line out the door, right? For people to get into debt. Like, how do I get my world in trouble? And so I waited and finally signed up. And of course, no proof of income, no nothing. Guess what happened a couple of weeks later? card shows up in the mail. First time we get leave. I go up to North Charleston to the mall with some of my friends, and we went out to eat at this really exclusive place called Ruby Tuesday. Don't know, Len, if you've heard of it.
Of course.
Yeah, they had a salad bar and everything. This place was hopping. It was amazing. But when
where credit ratings go to die.
It was, well, I'll tell you, mine did, because immediately when the bill came to show what a baller I was, I'm like, I got it. And I flip out that card. I paid for everybody's Ruby Tuesday, but that wasn't enough. I then went down to the other end of the mall where Nordstrom was, and they had one of these. The year is 1986, by the way. So I buy one of these really badass Duran Duran looking sweaters. I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. First of all, how often I get to wear a sweater? Second, I have to wear a uniform wherever I am, but that doesn't stop me from buying this really, really expensive sweater. Went back to the barracks, didn't think anything about it. And then the weirdest thing happened a month later. This bill shows up. Like, I got to pay for this crap. How does this happen? So I did what any sane person would do. I called my mom and I said, Mom, we got a problem. And Mom said, no, you've got a problem. And within 90 days, the card was gone and my credit was destroyed. And I spent the next summer working with a collection agency to pay back like the $280 that had now turned into, closer to $380 because of all the fees and stuff. But I guess the kicker of this story was the jokes on American Express, because I became a spokesperson for them later. I don't think they did any homework when they had me go on media tours talking about, using money brilliantly. But how about your classic things? Paul, how about you?
I don't know if it's a status thing, but I think fashion is a similar pitfall for a lot of us. I bought these boots one time in New York that I was very proud of because I'm a pretty conservative dresser. I'm attentive but conservative. And one time I was at Filene's basement or something because I am both edgy and budget conscious. And I bought some boots.
Duran Duran is an accurate example of
wow.
Those
Whoa,
boots.
What happened?
Wait a minute, dude. Where the hell was this microphone the entire show?
Oh, sorry, my headphones just died. I was.
So now we get the good shit.
I know. So
sorry.
So he waits to the end of the show.
This is just the phone. I thought I was doing better with the other mic.
Sadly, no.
I say we go back and re-record the host.
Yeah, let's.
1811. 1811. We won, OG.
Anyway, we didn't mean to stop the story, but that was amazing.
I wish you would have told me, listen, I'm very proud of the deep voice and I want the best microphone possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I bought some very disco Duran Duran boots and I wore them out with my buddy and his wife, who is my conscience. She's my buddy's wife who will always tell me straight like it is. I walked into their apartment in New York City. She looked at my boots, shook her head. I never wore those boots again.
Were they Uggs?
No, they were, I don't know. They were some when you go to Target, not to Target, to TJ Maxx or to one of those places, you've got some brands that are really recognizable, but then you've got like these subpar, like Stanley Blacker. I don't know who he is, but he makes shoes apparently. I think they might have been Stanley Blackers.
Nice. I didn't realize it's TJ Maxx. I didn't realize we were that top shelf.
Stanley Blackers.
This was a couple of decades ago.
Sounds like he makes power tools or something.
I know, right? Off-brand power tools. No, these aren't. No, you're thinking of Black & Decker. This is
I think it's Stanley Blacker. I'm going to look this up.
Yeah, Doug, while Paul's doing his deep research here.
Stanley Black & Decker. Oh no, that's a merger.
Doug, you're nodding at me across the table like you've got one.
So yeah, your American Express story. I think there was an era, Joe, where American Express was the shizzle. Like if you could have that card and you had to pay cash the full amount at the end of every month. So if you could have an Amex card right out of college, that was it. So I remember being at a bar and thinking, I'm going to pay for everybody, like the first round for everybody, all the people, like all 23 people I'm with, I'm paying for everybody. This is smart. it makes me look amazing, but B, then they buy me drinks the rest of the night. That was,
so you got 23 drinks at Goodwill.
Right. That's what the logic was. Like I thought I figured it out. I have figured out the puzzle at the bar. I'm going to buy one round for like $900, and then I'm going to drink free for the rest of the night. And I did that probably 3 times before I realized, wait a minute, I don't think the ROI here is quite what I anticipated it. Yeah, that was my big.
The good news is
3 times to realize.
I was going to say the good news is that 10 years later, Doug, whenever you go out for drinks, you're like, yeah, remember that time I bought for you that one?
That's right.
If you could,
that's right.
you could
and
do
that's
that.
why I've never bought you a drink, Joe.
Yes, saving it for later.
Yeah.
Len, Paula?
I would say in terms of status, I would say over improving a property. Just like insane levels of improvements. This was when I was house hacking. I was living in one of the units, and there were a few reasons that I over improved it, but I definitely put way more money into that renovation than necessary.
That's a great non-specific story. So there was this time I bought this thing and I totally over improved it.
Okay. So in particular, the bathroom has heated floors, which is just completely unnecessary because it's Atlanta, Georgia. Like, it doesn't get that cold.
It's like a sweater in Charleston.
Yeah. It's like a down jacket in Charleston.
Right.
The edging of the, like, so there's a kitchen island, right? With a granite countertop. The edging is like this double beveled, I think the word for it is like Italian OG curve.
In a rental property?
In a rental property, yes. Yes, in a rental property, which I myself lived in for 5 years. But it was definitely now a rental property, being, just lived in and beat up and unappreciated. And I knew during the renovation that that's exactly what the intention of the renovation was. But I lived there and I lived in it throughout the whole renovation, and I just wanted, it was a bit of a status symbol. It was like the dumb thing for status.
There was a guy that I met this weekend at this event. He was talking about how he moved into one of these older person mobile home communities. And when he realized after he bought Paula, he realized that he goes, this is a phrase you never want to hear come out of your mouth. I had the most expensive trailer in the trailer park. I was the king of the trailer park, and it's never good to have the most expensive house on your block.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Len, you got one to bring it home?
Well, I guess this is back at the turn of the century here, the 21st century, Doug.
Thanks for specifying, right?
But this was back, it's hard to believe this is only 20 years ago, but I bought something called the Sony CDP CX400.
Oh.
And to any of you audiophiles out there, it was a CD player that stored 400 CDs. So it could play, any of 400 CDs randomly.
Like a
jukebox. It would pick a song, like a jukebox. And this thing cost me, I think it was $300 at the time, which is what? That's probably equivalent to, who knows what that's equivalent to today, but it was expensive. But the thing was huge. I mean, it was bigger than a microwave oven. It weighed about 10 pounds. I mean, it was bulky as all get up, but I was so proud of that thing. I couldn't wait to have parties and show it off. And hey, look, guys, look at my, there's 400 CDs in there. Well, lo and behold, the very next year, Apple comes out with this little invention called the iPod, and it instantly made that CD thing obsolete.
You're like, nobody's going to beat this.